Hey everyone, this is Frugal Panda here with a review of the Anacortes Community Forest Lands, located, of course, in Anacortes, Washington State, that is. This was a beautiful summer day in 2023 that me and my son went on this hike. You'll see footage from another hike we did this same day, and the reason for it is we were basically burning time. My spouse, my wife, went on a whale kayak whale watching tour, I believe it was, and after she would be done with that later on in the afternoon, we were going to take off from Anacortes, which we'd spend a in, day and a night in, so she could do this kayaking activity. And we're going to take off, catch the ferry, and go to Port Angeles. Anyway, our time in Anacortes, Washington was great. I'll do a full review of Anacortes, Washington. Really had a great time. I really like the combination of the outdoor things to do in relation to the outdoors. The whole climate in the summertime is beautiful. It's off the ocean, is beautiful. And a lot of the stuff we actually did was free. This is, I believe, city-owned land right here, and I think part of it also goes through maybe private property. They have a partnership with some of the private properties, hence some of the trails closed after a certain time of day, usually nighttime, that is. So this is Mount Erie Park. The trail itself was not too difficult, but it also depends on what actual trail you take within the park itself. When you get to the park, there's the Mount Erie Park. If you Google it or do an Apple Maps navigation, it'll take you to the parking lot. Parking lot's a dirt parking lot. It's fairly large. There's also a porta potty there. So people that need that worry about bathrooms because you're driving out there, especially if you're on vacation, there's a porta potty there, and it actually was really clean, by the way. And it had like a wooden half a fence around it that like blocked its view, so you had privacy even in the porta potty, plus a fence, a little wooden structure around it too. So that was cool. I know I spent some time on that, but I know a lot of people are interested in that too. Just there's going to be a bathroom there because you never know where you're driving from when you get to a hiking place. Anyway, I didn't say in the video yet, but there was hardly anybody there. There was people, but not a lot of people. Depending on what trail you take, you can hike, bike, horseback ride, no motorized vehicles. Now, this day we did not hike to the top to Mount Erie, to the actual Mount Erie itself. And the reason being is, like I said, we were waiting on my spouse to get done, so we weren't going to do a bunch of difficult hikes and be really sweaty to go catch the ferry and then go hang out in Port Angeles and be kind of grimy for the whole day waiting to get into our hotel type of thing. Even with wet wipe, we just didn't want to do all. We just wanted to take a relaxing day and check out some stuff. So we did some very simple hikes. So we hiked around this area. It's beautiful, of course. It's Washington State. Um, we did not, as I said, we didn't hike to Mount Erie. So what we did instead is we just drove up the road, and the road is a dirt road that leads up to Mount Erie. Don't worry about it. You do not need all-wheel drive, four-wheel drive, or anything like that. We did have it. You did not need it. All kinds of cars were going up and down the mountain, and there's plenty of room to get up there. And the actual elevation of Mount Erie is only like 1,273 feet, which we come from Colorado was nothing. So this hike to us was, to be honest with you, was nothing. But like I said, it depends on what trail you take and level of difficulty you want. But regardless of what trail you take, the scenery around you is beautiful. Also, look at the signs there. The signs will tell you if it's for hiking. All I'm going to say is hiking, but some of them may not be for horses or for actual mountain bikes and stuff like that. And I want to say I saw one person on a mountain bike, and I didn't see anybody on horses on the trail we took. Um, you're right next to the ocean. You can smell the ocean air. You can just, Washington State, you just, the smell around the ocean, it's just, it smells so good, or the sound or whatever it is in this area. Um, Anacortes, if you don't know, that's where you can catch the ferry to go to San Juan Islands, which kind of is not, it kind of sucks now. There's budget cuts or something with that, or they changed some regulation. Because back in the day, you can also catch that ferry in Seattle and go to San Juan, or was it a ferry? I'm lying. No, we took a clipper ship to the San Juan Islands when we actually did go that time. But they did change a lot of things that you used to be able to do due to capacity and some regulation change, and so we had to drive all the way to Anacortes for her to do her kayaking and then go another place to catch a ferry to go to another area. Which back in the day, some of those areas were serviced by Seattle. You just go to Seattle and catch that ferry to go to these other places. Regardless, we're glad we went to Anacortes. I was really glad. We were all glad we really saw this area. Besides food, we could have probably been budgeted a little bit better for food in regards to that area. Outside of that, it was fairly cheap here. And like I said, this hike was free. You'll see my video, my little Cranberry Lake hike, free and beautiful. We went to a museum the same day. We did all this in one day, me and my son. We rode our bikes, my e-bike and the e-scooter. And like I said, we went to a museum. It was $8 for both of us. Went to the farmer's market. We didn't buy anything. I kind of regret it. I should have bought something. Regardless, though, this was a cheap day. Just me and him. We had a great time. It was a really good time, honestly. I highly recommend you check out Anacortes' community forest lands. They have trails all over Anacortes that you can take. Some of them, none of them are difficult to really to find. You can get confused because some of them, one of them I know we went to, Little Cranberry Lake, was located basically almost in a neighborhood. So I know someone gave it a bad review because they couldn't find it. It wasn't really that hard to find. Just be patient, take your time, and but every hike we did was beautiful. There's always water involved. This is Washington State. I mean, the west side of Washington State. So there's always some water involved, uh, which makes us laugh sometimes because I'm like, yeah, there's the water. You can smell it before you even see it. But this hike, like I said, very peaceful. Bird watchers, Washington State's probably a state for you because there's so many birds here. You hear them all over the place. Saw an owl while we were there. I don't know what kind of owl it was during the day, which I think I've only seen twice an owl during the day. Um, like I said, oh, be careful elevation. There is elevation depending on what trail you take. So some of the trails I did take, there was elevation involved with it. If you have mobility issues or anything, just be mindful. As far as like wheelchairs and stuff, I would say no on this trail, like because it's a dirt trail and also it's not always flat, but it's not difficult. I'm just saying a no on that. One of the trails we took, it took us to a dead end. I believe this is Whistle Lake. I believe it was called, no, Heart Lake. It's called Heart Lake. And I wanted to go explore it, but we were after this, after we actually went here, it was time to go and pick up my wife, and so we could take off to our next destination, was Port Angeles. But before we went, we drove up. As I was saying, you can drive up to Mount Erie, which is not that far. It only takes I'd say maybe 5 minutes to drive up to it from the trailhead, these trailheads right here. And yeah, there's really nothing to it. So we started heading back. I believe we took the same way that we got there. And now we're on a mission because we want to hurry. We said we're not coming here and just hiking and not going to see the main piece of this, which is Mount Erie. So we hiked back, and what we did is we got in the car and we drove up. It was 5 minutes or less for us to get up there. The hike itself wasn't hard at all, but be mindful, we are also from Colorado. So I live in a mile high city, 5,200 or so feet. Look at the views. You can start seeing the views. You can start picking out the ocean out there. I'm like, oh, the ocean's out there. Stop there, hop back in the car. There you go. Here's all the islands and everything. Ladies and gentlemen, Washington State is a beautiful state. I really enjoy it. I really enjoy the west side. The east side's cool too. There's some parts of it I actually enjoy too. Um, but man, the west side is beautiful. Anyway, this is Frugal Panda. I hope this helps some people out there. Go check out Anacortes, Washington's forest lands. This is Frugal Panda out. Thanks for watching, everyone. Have a good day.